today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the DC Collectibles, the new 52 Supergirl. From a standpoint of accessories, it looks like Supergirl comes with a shard of kryptonite, and that's it. That's all she comes with. Spin around the side of the package, there's an image of Supergirl, the original production or the original press release of what the figure was going to look like. It doesn't quite look like the figure. And anyways, on the back, the quick read-up says she's Supergirl, last daughter of Krypton, though she yearns for home she's lost. Kara Zor-El will make her place in a strange new world with courage and determination based on the new designs, or on designs, of the DC Comics, the new 52. Other figures available are Batgirl and Nightwing, and of course the fantastic, still one of my favorite figures I have on display, and it's one of my favorite Supermen, by the way, as well. For product info and more, you can go to dccomics.com, Comic Shop Locator, you can go to www.comicsshoplocator.com. That being said, Spot's going to take a break, going to get this opened up, and when we come back, we're getting a better look at the DC Comics, the new 52 Supergirl. There's more anyway, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. For her accessories, Supergirl comes with one thing. And initially, I thought it could have been a shard of kryptonite. It could also potentially be a data crystal from, well, like a Fortress of Solitude kind of thing. I'm not quite sure, because again, Spot doesn't read a lot of newer comics. But it's green. Again, could be perceived as kryptonite, could also be a data crystal. Either or, it's quite nice. And you can take it. It does fit into her hand, although her hand is really only designed, her hand is really meant just as a flat palm. I don't think it's really designed to hold the crystal per se. It's not really like she's gripping it necessarily. It's like she's kind of just got her hand partially open and somebody's just kind of put a crystal into her hand. But she can hold it. The other hand, unfortunately, is completely closed shut. It's sculpted in a fist. Just take this and put it to the side. Yes, once again, no display stand. This time, actually, she only has one peg hole on the underside of her feet instead of two. It almost looks like, if I'm looking at this correctly, it almost looks like she had what was going to be a second peg hole, and it just was never, and it's not just my figure, I'm sure this is the case with all figures, but it does look like there's that indentation where a hole should have been. They just opted not to put it in there. The figure looks better, I gotta say, than what she did in packaging. In packaging, she looked a little rough. In hand, she still looks rough. Don't kid yourself, she looks a little on the rough side. But I think the figure still is pretty good. It's a far cry, and I'm gonna use the example of the Power Girl Huntress 2-pack, where like the original press shots of those figures looked awesome. And again, if you've seen my review of those figures, boy oh boy, were they ever really disappointing. The press figures always look so much better than what the actual figures you get in hand. Supergirl, I think, deviates a little bit away from what the figure initially could have looked like. And that's what happens when you start getting into mass production. You know, molds don't quite end up looking as good as they did in the original prototype. But still, the figure ends up looking pretty good. Let's have a look at her face. Let's bring the camera in. Face is good. It's not as beautiful as like the side of the packaging. That figure looked good. This figure, I think, is just kind of slightly missing the beat. The hair is quite nice. I like the hair. It kind of is very Power Girl-esque. Also like the update take on her suit. It's Superman, it's Supergirl, but it's not quite. It's a little bit something different. The exposed knees are something I'm not used to seeing either with a character. It's kind of nice to see that while she still incorporates the M-shaped yellow outline of the boots. So it's nice that they kept, you know, original concept ideas. You know, the figures, the characters' designs that would, you know, be like Golden Age, Silver Age. I like that they kept that and then they just kind of updated it. The open knees I'm not crazy about, but it's a nice design nonetheless. As for the shirt, I'm not quite sure if it kind of looks like it's a shirt, but then it blends into kind of the equivalent of underoos that you would see on Superman. The coloring is quite nice. In fact, I don't have the Superman figure in front of me, But I feel like this is the same blue that was on that DC, the original DC Direct New 52 Superman. I also like the chest emblem, how it's raised. It's quite, again, a slight departure from the original Superman figure, original New 52. It's a little bit different, but it still stays very true to the original idea. I love the cape. Cape's quite nice. Kind of got that billowing, kind of blowing effect without being like overly outrageous. You know, sometimes where the capes just kind of go out like this, and it's just like there's way too much cape. Batman's notorious for that, but this is a good amount of cape. The yellow outline trim is quite nice too. Not sloppy. Sometimes yellow on red can end up being a bit of a disaster. It's pretty clean overall. I guess as the only real nitpick I can make about the figure, I love the body to about here. The face is good, but I feel like the face is still a little sloppy. It's just again, it's just an ongoing problem where, you know, they show what a figure should look like, and then when you ultimately get it in hand, it's never quite the same. Still the best example is the skinned Joker. Figure looks so good, and then when you got it in hand, it's like, what is this disaster? But this figure, I think, still stands up well. It's just not as good as the original photos. When it comes to Supergirl's articulation, her head is on a ball joint. Shoulders are on ball hinges as well, although not restricted by her cape. That's good. Cape is rubbery enough that it does move out of the way when you want to move her arms, which is a nice touch. Moves back and forth. She has a swivel at the bicep, as small as her arms might be. She still swivels at the bicep. Double bend at the elbow, and you know, a swivel in the wrist. By the way, for anyone who's still critiquing the fact that was it Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman being too skinny. I mean, look at Supergirl here. She's Superman's cousin, and yet she's still skinny. She's not big. She's not bulky. She's not a big Amazonian. I still think just because you're small in build does not mean you can't be a super strong, you know, superhero. So there you go. That's just a little small rant. Not really relevant to the figure, but there you go. She does have a crunch. Now, this very interesting crunch. It's maybe not so much a crunch. It teases you like it should be a crunch, but it's really not. It actually doesn't bend. It's misleading. It's very misleading. It makes you think that you could bend it. For a second, I thought I could bend it, but no. It's pre-posed. This is all basically, I guess this is the way it was assembled. Again, very misleading. And then as for the legs hinge out, forward and back. Has a single bend at the knee and a single hinge in the foot. Beautiful figure, yes. Perfect figure, I'll give it that. It's not. It could have been better based on the designs of what we saw, but at the end of the day, it's not one of the train wrecks that we've seen with some of the other DC Direct or DC collectible figures from stage of prototype display, you know, at the toy shows to what we ultimately get. And that sometimes can deviate quite considerably. Supergirl, I think, ends up being a pretty good looking figure. I love the metallic color. Paint's quite nice. Face could have been just a little bit better, but at the end of the day, it's still a pretty good looking figure. Today's toy spot, we were having a look. There it is right there. We're having a look today at, I was going to say Wonder Woman. I'm still thinking about Wonder Woman. We're having a look, though, today at the DC Collectibles, the new 52 Supergirl. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more toy spots heading your way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.